certainly. Good. Second image. Oh, it's other. Light world. What's up? What's up? What's up? You hear me on this? Sound. Okay, so we have sound. Okay, I was thinking we didn't have sound there for a second. How's it going? How's it going? How is it going? How are we doing? How's it going? A second to get people coming in here. There's the sound. That's what we're looking for. All right. All right. How's it going, everybody? Good Tuesday. Good Tuesday morning. Tuesday morning, April the 14th. Wow. April the 14th. My goodness. Cannot believe we're actually already middle of the way through April already. Through everything going on and everything that's been happening. We are actually midway through April, which is crazy, crazy with everything going on. How's everybody doing? Let me know who's here, who's in the chat. I see David. I see you there. How's it going, man? Let's see, we get started here. Now, the idea of what we're going to be doing is I'm going to start going through some of the new stuff that will be coming to you. I believe pickup is on Friday about that. Um, you do have the ability to access this right now for those of you who were kind of paying attention to Google Classroom at all. If you sign into Google Classroom, remember classroom.google.com. Let me actually sign myself. Let me sign myself in here. Actually, no, you're good with that. When you sign into Google Classroom, and say for instance we get the Terra Math Classroom, um, you're gonna see on here. It says I put a post up there yesterday. It says here are the new packets I'll be referencing during my live stream starting tomorrow. Pay attention to my instruction because when you do open this, when you do download and open, if you have the ability to download and open, you'll see that it does have a lot of pages on this. But as you see though, it's all set to one side. So it's just more because there's an information on the left with your information on the right. It starts off looking kind of, odd, but as you see as you scroll through, there's really not. It's not too bad. I guess it all depends, obviously, of how long we're still out for. If it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or 6 weeks, um, depends on what we'll do here. But the idea of this, everybody, is to follow with what I'm doing on these live streams, so that it gives you the incentive for coming on here and following along with what we're doing. So, like I said, I'll have this. I'm gonna be going through the topic one on this. So it's stuff that we were doing pretty much in like the beginning of the year, just to kind of, again, refresh to go through with those things. But especially this is very much grade specific this time, instead of just saying this is like, oh, this is the Aloha packet, or this is the play ball packet. No, this is actually sixth grade work. This is the sixth grade work here. So um, again, you can go onto Google. That's not it. You can go onto Google Classroom. So again, classroom.google.com. If you haven't already been signed in, sign yourself in with your student email. And when you click on your class here, Terra Math Classroom or Venus or however it is, you'll see I posted all three grade levels of the packet there. Again, that there's three levels because it's the sixth grade packet, 2, and I do also have 7th grade and 8th grade on there too for those people who want to take a look at what some of the what 7th and 8th grade are doing as well too. It's up to you, up to you. But definitely for you guys, those of you who have the access to you know to the to online and have your own computer at home or anything of that sort, um, you know, just click on the PDF file and you should be able to download it. You should be able to download or even print it up there. Obviously, you're going to print it front and back. It does have a lot of pages to it, but again, as I was saying earlier, I mean, it's all one side. It's all the information takes up like one whole side of it. So that's why it looks a lot more daunting than it does initially. And I hope that helps a little bit, but it does. It goes over exactly everything that we've kind of covered for the most part throughout the year, the time that we were there. Obviously, as I've said yesterday, the time constraints of everything kind of do things. So, we'll make the best of what we got here. So, and those of you following along, take a second and download that. You can open this up. Like I said, I'm going to be focusing pretty much right here. We talk about that's 8th grade. There we go. And it's pretty much just dealing with starting off with like adding, subtracting, multiplying decimals. I mean, I hope a lot of what we're going to do here is kind of more of a review-ish type thing to do. Kind of hope that's the case. And with that being said, I'll just start getting going here. Um, like you see, it says fluently add, subtract, and multiply decimals. This is like one of the first things that we did, and what you guys did with Miss Holden, or like these are things in which like I said, quick reviews: add or subtract decimals, line up the decimal points so that place value positions correspond. So when you're adding or subtracting, so like in the instance of number one, here, you have 91.2. So you have 91.2 plus 89.9. When you're adding or subtracting, always, always, always make sure that you have that decimal lined up. It is always lined up when you add or subtract those decimals. When you do that, you can then just add them up like you normally would. 9 plus 2 is 11. Carry that 1. Obviously, bring down that decimal. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus your other 1 is going to be 11. Bring up your other 1. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus your 8 is 18. 181.1 would be your first answer right there. 181.1. There we go. 181.1 will be that first answer right there. Okay. Again, adding, subtracting, you're lining up those decimals. So then, like, say for number 2, same thing goes here. 902.3, 902.3, and you're going to subtract 8.8. Well, 8.8 is not going to go over here. It's not going to go over here. You want to make sure that you have your decimals lined up. So I'm going to change the color here a little bit, and it's going to be 0.8. And again, it's just subtracting like you normally would subtract. 13 minus 8 is 5. Make sure you bring down that decimal so you're staying, going right along with this. Obviously, you can't do the 1 minus 8, so you're going to borrow from the 8. This 9 there, 3, 9, into the 8, 93.5. Again, could you just, and I'm going to kind of state the obvious here, could you honestly bring up just a calculator and do this that way? I'm not in front of you, so this is totally, like I said, I want to show you the way of doing this without having to use the calculator, but obviously you have that to check your answers, to go through with things to make sure you're doing it the correct way. So let me continue. With this. So when we talked about adding and subtracting, again, you're placing the decimal point, you're lining up the decimal point. When you're multiplying the decimals, it works the same way as you're multiplying regular whole numbers. So I'm going to delete this off here, delete that off. And in the instance of, say, number three here, we have 98.2. So if you have 98.2, and we're going to multiply 5, okay, it gets lined up to where it's the same. It's like you're just multiplying the whole numbers, like it said, to multiply your decimal. You're going to multiply as you would with the whole numbers, and then place the decimal point in the product. And it gives you this whole long explanation for this. Plain and simple, multiply everything out first. So 5 times 2 is 10. So you're going to bring down your 0, bring up 1. 8 times 5, 5 is 40, plus your 1 is 41. 9 times 5 is going to be 45, plus your 4 is 49. 49. And what ends up happening is you see there's one decimal point moved over in your two parts that you're multiplying here. So with that being said, if it's moving over one decimal point here, it's going to be moving over one decimal point here. So your final answer is going to be 491. So 491. 491. Again, a lot of this is kind of just repetitive with this. I mean, yeah, there's 14 of these here, but to be totally honest, it should not really take too long to do that, I would hope. I mean, again, this is stuff that was done early part of the year. And, again, you roll right through it and say for number 6, 423.22. So now you start getting into bigger, like bigger numbers here. 98.30. So you're adding 98.30. Again, line up the decimals. When you're adding or subtracting, you're going to be lining up those decimals. So you're going to be lining up those decimals for the fact that it'll help you getting that answer. So lining up the decimals, 2 plus 0 is 2, 3 plus 2 is 5. Bring down your decimal. Again, it's just working. It's working from right to left with this. Always remember right to left with this, unless you got some fancy schmancy kind of mindset going with things. 8 plus 3 is 11. Take your 1 and add it up. 9 plus 2 is 11. Plus your 1 is 12. Carry your 1. And it's going to leave you with 521. 521.52. And again, I'm not going to continue to go through the same thing with this here. Just remember that with this section, when you do see this, if you went through and looked at this, that again, adding and subtracting, you're lining up the decimals. Adding or subtracting, you're lining up those decimals. Multiplying, it's just done to where, say you have, say like in the instance of number 8, which is 21.6. You multiply it like you would with just regular whole numbers, and then you figure out how many decimal points have been moved over in your, with the two numbers that you're multiplying there. In the instance here, 21.6 decimal point has been moved over once. So whatever your answer comes up here, you're taking that, you're starting from that fictitious all the way to the right and move it one over with your answer. Hope it makes sense. Again, these, I'm going to clear the screen here, but with these papers here, I mean, it explains everything. It explains everything perfectly over here. I mean, it's a lot of I like to use the word garble with things, but with this, I mean, it explains, everything very, very, very well, and it gives it to a nice, concise review on everything. But yeah, I mean, that's the first section right there. Again, just line them up, go through it. That's that's namely that first part there. Let's scroll it. So now we talk about dividing. So we talked addition, subtraction, multiplication. So now we're going to deal with dividing on this. So look at number one. If you look at number one, and you're going to see here, and you're going to see, well, 9.6 divided by 1.6. And look at your review. The review says to the left. To divide your decimals, so to divide decimals, you're going to multiply the divisor and the dividend by the same power of 10 so that the divisor is a whole number, and use an algorithm for the whole number division. Okay, I'm going to give you the plain and simple, non-garbled answer right here. Take 1.6 and you're dividing into 9.6. What you do here, as you see with my yellow, movement here, you're going to do here. Okay, that's basically what it's telling you, and it ends up being, well, what is 1.6? Well, it's 16 going into 96. So a lot of us, especially at this time of morning, can kind of have that little bit of a fog in their mind here. So 96 divided by 16 is just flat out 6. So how many times can 1.6 go into 9.6? Well, your answer is okay, 6. 6. Okay. We do one a little bit differently. Solve all this. Hope this is making somewhat sense. I mean, just to kind of give you an idea of what we've been kind of working on here. So like I'm going to look at number 5. So if I got the number 4.5 going into 45. And always remember, when you're seeing these numbers like this, and you're seeing them listed this way, always know that this number to the right will be the one that goes in here. And this number to the left will be the one that goes over here. I hope that makes sense. Sometimes we kind of forget about the easy parts there, but maybe even me. So 4.5 goes into 45. Now, if there's a decimal in this number, which you see here, it's 4.5, you're going to move this decimal one to the right. Okay, so it's one to the right, and then you're taking this part right here and moving it one more. What you do once here, you're going to do here. So it ends up being, how much can 45 go into 450? 45 can go into 450. Well, can 45 go into 45? Yes, and go into it one time. 1 times 45 is 45. 45 minus 45 is 0. Bring down your other 0. Can 45 go into 0? Obviously, that's a negatory. The answer is 10. Okay, I mean, again, the example that you see over here, I mean, it explains everything perfectly. I mean, obviously, it gives you more of the math terminology. We try to put things, if you remember from class, I try to put things in the most simplest tones as possible, because obviously math is a lot of fancy words that things get to be, used, and we sit there and we go, well, divisor and dividend and all this kind of good stuff, and it's like, oh my goodness, and we all get kind of flamboozled a little bit there, but needless to say, let's do one more here. So like, how about number 7? So number 7. So 1.26 is being divided by 0.2. So 1.26 is being divided by 0.2. Okay? That's a right way of kind of answering things right there. So 0.2 on the left side there, you know that you have your decimal. Your decimal is in the middle, so we have to kick it all the way to the right. So we kicked it one spot to the right. Let's take our decimal within and kick it one to the right as well. So now what you really have is you have 2 going into 12.6. That makes kind of sense. Pretty much going into 12.6. So 2, can 2 go into 1? No. Can 2 go into 12? 2 can go into 12 6 times. 6 times 2 is going to be 12. 12 minus 12 is 0. Down to 6. 2 goes into 6 3 times. Well, now here's the thing. Is your answer 63? No, you have to take your decimal underneath and move it up. So your answer is 6.3. Is 6.3. Okay? Again, that's dividing decimals. You will be seeing that from the rest of your math career. It is a very, very good, very, good base that starts everything in the point of a year there. Um, yeah, I mean that's dividing decimals in kind of a nutshell right here. Now, I want to quickly kind of go through multiplying fractions. We kind of work with that. Now, they tell you this nice little area model, which I mean, I'm going to give you my personal opinion. The area model makes things more complicated. That's my belief. I mean, but when it comes to multiplying fractions, and I had put a video out on the channel. I'll probably now it's probably 2 weeks back, 2 weeks back on this. But when it comes to multiplying fractions, I mean, pretty much what it is it really tells you. It says to multiply the numerators to find the numerator of the product. Well, the product, remember, the product is your answer. Product is what you get for an answer, and then you multiply the denominators across. So like in this instance, 2/3 times 3/8, you're just multiplying across. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 8 is 24. And then the question becomes, well, can you, the question is can you reduce that? Yeah, you can. What factor can go into both 6 and 24? Well, 6 goes into 6 one time. 6 goes into 24 4 times. So when you look at this, your answer is 6 over 24 or 1/4. Again, multiplying fractions, in my belief, is probably one of the more simpler ones when it comes to dealing with fractions, because it's pretty much just multiplying across. And a lot of the times, like in the instance of like number 8, you have 7 over 8 times 3 over 2. You're just multiplying across. 7 times 3 is 21. And then you have 8 times 2, which is 16. Now the question is 21/16 your answer? Could be, but if you want to put it into a mixed number, because you have what you have right here is an improper fraction. It's an improper fraction, 21 over 16. So if we're going to convert 21/16 into an improper fraction, the way that do that is we take our denominator of 16. So I'm going to kind of move over here. We take our denominator of 16 and we're going to divide it into that numerator of 21. So 16 goes into 21 one time. 1 times 16, obviously. 21 minus 16 is going to be 5. And then that 5 becomes the new numerator of your mixed number. Let me kind of rewrite this. I'm going to rewrite this over here. So your answer is 1 and 5/16. That's 1 and 5/16. Okay? Do one more here. One more. There's a couple of these on here, say like number 6, to where if you an astute eye at this, if you look at this and you see, well, 3/8 times 8 over 3. Well, if you're multiplying across, 3 times 8 is 24. And then 8 times 3 is 24. 24 divided by 24 is just a regular old, plain old 1. Just 1 on that. But if you were to look and you can say, well, if 3's are up here and down here, they can actually cross cancel. And the 8's can cross cancel. And basically what you have is just 1 times 1, which is 1. Okay? Almost there. Almost there. And let me just kind of run through this last one here real quick. Again, when you see this, focus on the left side as like your quick review of what you're actually doing. And it gives you an example of some things. Now, obviously, it's going to give you some more different ways of doing things. Obviously, refer to what we're doing here. Um, so in the instance of like number 2, when it comes to dividing fractions, dividing is simply put, when you divide 2 fractions, 6 over 1 divided by 2 over 5. When you divide, there's just one extra step. 6 over 1, when you want to divide, you have to then change that second fraction into its flip. So if you remember the term keep, change, flip, now it just becomes a multiplication of 2 fractions. 6 times 5 is 30. 2 times 1 is 2. 30 divided by 2 is 15. It's 15. 2 would be 15. Okay. With that being said, I thank you, those of you who had followed with me on this. Again, you should see the access to this on Google Classroom. I'm going to get out of this here, clear my screen. But again, you can access this right now on Google Classroom. Obviously, you'll get something along these lines on Friday. I hope everything is going good. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will talk to you guys soon. See you.